Hey, what's going on, positive people? What's up, HCR fam? And welcome to the Be Positive Music Show. I am your host, B Plus, and we are joined by a special guest today. We'll get to that in a second, but of course, we are live right here on SiriusXM channel 140, and of course, Holy Culture Radio. I say it each and every week. If you don't have the Holy Culture Radio app, make sure you go out and get that. And if you already have it, make sure you tell a friend about it. But now to our guest. He is the most requested guest, and he's also the most recurring guest right here on the Be Positive Music Show. Luke DiMarzio, say what's up to the Holy Culture fam.
What's up, B Plus? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, it's always a pleasure. Pleasure to have you. I think right now you're your alias on Twitter or X, that is Ear to the Streets. So welcome to the show, Mr. Ear to the Streets, man. It's always good to hear from you because you know Christian hip hop like very, very few. So I'm always happy to have you to drop in and tune in. So we did this 3 times last year where there's a Luke DiMarzio takeover, and he brings us up to speed with the latest and greatest that's going on in the last quarter. So we're taking a look at January, February, and March of 2024. So with that being said, Luke, go ahead and let us know your top 5 albums or EPs that dropped this year so far.
All right, yeah, in January, let's start out in January. First, we got Avery Harden, his project Atlantis 2, Milo's Return. I've been put onto Avery a couple years ago, and he's crazy talented, really versatile. He can twist, chop it up real fast, but he's also got like good vibes. He can sing a little bit, just great performer, good energy. I love listening to his stuff. And then, of course, we got Swoope on there. We Go On, his We Go On project. He just went on a tour last year called We Go On, and it's interesting. He named his album after the tour. I don't know if that's pretty interesting, but I think that's a dope album. It's in contention for the best album of the year so far.
I think so too.
He's really good at connecting all of his thoughts and like creating everything that is sonically cohesive throughout his whole album. And so I just love listening to Swoope albums. And so this is no different than any other Swoope album for me. He talks a lot about grief and pain and, like just going through life. And so that whole like persistence idea, We Go On, is kind of the theme that shows up in that album. And it was really strong for me. The next one I want to tell you about is Jay Murph. I just heard about him in the last year as well. And this is just a little like 3-track single. It's not really an EP, but it's bigger than a single to me because I thought all songs were dope. They're just really smooth. He's got this really cool flow about him, and the beats are just pristine. And so I'm excited for people to listen to him. Next is KRL and Don J Live. I met KRL a couple years ago at Flavor Fest. He actually won the Cypher battle that year, and we got to chop it up a little bit. I had never really heard of him then, and I got put on then. And dude's just really smooth. Again, just a good lyricist, but then like just really laid back, beats. And his work with Don J Live, he's got quite a few songs with him. I think they just make a perfect pair. And so, that's great. And then my 5th best project that dropped in January is Intellect, and he's from Ohio. He's a boom bap East Coast style. His album The Solution is really solid, man, and especially for like indie CHH kind of coming up. Like I thought it was really solid. I really liked what I heard off of that album. And then honorable mention, and this is mainly because you can't get it on DSPs. And so I feel weird like pushing it out. But Dre Murray dropped a project called Amadeus in January, only on DreMurray.com. And I really like that, but I can't show you any of that stuff because it's not on anywhere streaming. So there you go.
Got it. Yeah, well, man, thanks for dropping those off. And it's always interesting. You always make me do my homework. You sent me over what you were thinking about doing for this breakdown. And over half of them, I'm like, either I didn't know the album came out or I just didn't know the artist at all. So I do know Don J Live, but I did not know KRL. I mean, if you listen to Don J Live, you're going to hear KRL somewhere on there.
Right.
Well, I've heard him before, but I just never really paid him attention. But after that one, specifically the song "Aim," that was probably my favorite one off of there. And then I did want to shout out Intellect, not just because he's from Ohio. I'm from Ohio. I'm from Cincinnati, but his song "The Bridge," that was probably my favorite one. My favorite one off of there. So, is there any other?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Dre Murray. So Dre Murray, that one's not on Bandcamp.
I didn't. Maybe it might be on Bandcamp now. I got it off of his website. So yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
sometimes that happens where they roll it out to different places, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta check that out because Dre Murray, he's just one of those vets. He's one of those unsung vets in our space that doesn't always get a lot of love, a lot of shine. But I mean, he's one of the best storytellers. I haven't heard this, but I my brother was telling me about this particular project not too long ago. So I'm looking forward to checking it out. Did he have like a lot of storytelling on this project, or is it a full project?
It's like a 5-track, I think.
Okay.
I don't have my notes in front of me for this, but yeah, it's a small EP, and he's planning on dropping a few more this year. But did you hear he just announced that he's going to retire at the end of this year?
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's on his socials recently, so go check that out. But yeah, it just means like support him. You gotta give them their flowers while they're here, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, thanks for dropping off your top 5 EPs and even gave us an honorable mention. We're gonna go ahead and get into a music break. So Luke, let us know what we're gonna be checking out for this first song.
Yeah, the first song is Avery Harden, "Stroke of Delanya."
Here we go. There we go. So you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy this dope track, and we'll be back.
New videos, music, articles, devos, and more. Stay connected. Get the app now so you don't miss a thing. Visit holyculture.net.
Hey, what's up? Welcome back, Holy Culture fam. It's B+. I'm joined by Luke DiMarzio. He's given us a rundown of what has happened in the CHH world during the first quarter of the year. He just let you guys get a sneak peek of his favorites. Some of his favorite tracks from Q1. So before we go ahead and hop into February, let me read off what we played during that first quarter. And the first song I played was "Stroke of Delanya."
And I'm really trying to play it in the studio. I feel like I am Kunta. I'm chasing a dream, so I'm feeling like Martin Luther. Everybody sleep on me, waste on no name of Duda. I wake you up like you was praying to Buddha. Give me the Luda.
That was by Avery Harden. And the next song was La Sortie.
Just lost a baby. Well, my wife was 1,000 miles away. She had to fight that pain alone. While I taught in 7th grade, I prayed. Hit up mentors for a favor and taught the period. The irony of teaching while learning from life experience. Now twins on the way, acquaint.
And that's by J Murph. And then the third and final song was "Work Real Hard."
I'm sure they work real hard. Memories of my dreams rolling down my cheek. I taste them, so it's salt every time I speak. I'm wasting all these thoughts trying to find my peak. I'm chasing windy nightmares down my street. I'm Jason.
That was by Swoope featuring Jackie, or should I say the Jackie Hill Perry. So those were the 3 songs that we played. Luke, let's go ahead and hop into our second quarter of the show, but your February picks.
February picks. All right, here we go. The first one that comes to mind in February is Will Kellum, his album Storylines. I've been following Will for a while. He put out a album in like 2018 called Becoming Light. And then I met him at Flavor Fest a few years ago too. Just a great, solid dude. He actually is a 2024 Rapzilla freshman as well. He's got a lot going for him, got a lot of momentum, and this album is tremendous. Yeah, he's great, and so excited to share Will with you today. The next one is a project called The Burning Bush by Westside Mo. And now he used to be like a secular mainstream rapper from the Bay Area, and he just got saved recently, and so this is his first project as CHH artist, and it's really strong. It sounds like quintessential West Coast, but man, it's really, really solid though. It's sometimes you can get some stuff that sounds a little corny. This is not that. He feels really natural and like really comfortable in his new environment, and so that's really cool. The next one is Jay Sannon. He dropped a project called Pink Diamond, and again, this is a really versatile artist. He can sing a little bit, you know, a little, at least with some waves, you know, and then some trap beats, some really like spitting. And I just really enjoyed that project from Jay. He always puts out good stuff. The next one is Dee-1, From Hood to Harvard. Now, this is like a cheat code because he technically dropped this in the last quarter of last year on his website, and I got it then, but then he put it on DSPs in February of this year. And it's got quite a few songs on there that I would go back to. If you haven't heard of Dee-1 and you like CHH, then you've been sleeping or something, because even if you haven't heard a song from him, you have seen his influence and you've heard about the impact that he is having, all the stuff he's talking about in this space in the last year. And then the last one that I have on here, I just thought was really dope, is J-Way the Alien, his project Island Forgotten. Again, just super versatile. I don't even know what kind of box to put J-Way in because he's kind of emo. He raps a little bit. It's just really musical. Is what you're gonna get when you listen to J-Way these days. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those guys that it's like you said, it's impossible to put him in a box. And it's like you hear a track like, oh, this is pretty nice, and you'll look at him like that's J-Way, and then you hear something kind of different, like, oh, that's pretty dope. You'll look at it and you're like, and that's J-Way too. Like, how's he doing this? I particularly like the joint that he has with Paris Carriz. I think it's called, let me make sure, it's called Shorty Goodnight. So yeah, he's super versatile, super talented. But one of the things that stuck out to me as I was going through some of your picks was Mo. So you said he's a ex secular rapper, and right. The first thing that jumped up to me was just his voice. It's like some people just have a voice to rap, and I feel like he definitely does. He definitely has it.
Yeah,
definitely has it. So I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that stuck out to me. Man. Yeah, Will Kellum. I thought that he had a really couple strong songs on there. I particularly liked it might have been Fourth Quarter. I like Fourth Quarter. That was one of my favorite ones.
His first verse on there just is so crazy. The wordplay and everything he's saying.
Yeah.
I rewound that back so many times. I'm like, wait, what was that? What was that? That's one of those where like you got to catch the bars. Like he's really, it blew my mind that when I first heard Fourth Quarter, it's crazy.
Yeah. So, man, that's a very solid. And then also what you said about Dee-1. And it's interesting because I always tread lightly because I'm not the biggest Dee-1 fan, like musically.
Right.
Like obviously, it's just I don't know if it's too much of the accent for me, or I just don't always connect with it. But the moves that he's been making. It may not be the way that I would go about doing it, but God has called him to do this, and he is really kicked this hornet's nest, and he's really standing on business. He's not wavering at all. He's like 10 toes down. Like you got to stop talking about violence and all this crap in your music, you know, and he's like telling them to their faces too. This isn't like he's talking to us about it. He's going to the people and saying, you need to stop doing this, perpetuating this in our cities, in our neighborhoods. He's like, you got to be a good example for the people that look up to you. And man, he's practicing what he preaches. And yeah, for me, you know, he's kind of got the old school Cash Money kind of vibes with his music. And I'd say, yeah, he can still drop some hot songs, but I feel like what he's doing to impact culture as far as like influencing in positive ways and like banding people together against just all this trash in our raps, you know, like that is bigger than anything he can do in music. Yep. And he has a lot of people are backpedaling, contradicting themselves. Like he's almost like the way he's doing it, he's like handing them a shovel and they're just digging the hole deeper. And I'm just like, man, like, so I really do feel like God's anointed Dee-1 to be stepping in the space that he's stepping in. So definitely my prayers to Dee-1, and definitely want him to keep doing his thing. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's get into some more music. So of those 5 albums you just dropped, I want you to pick 3 songs and play those. And what will be the first song that you're going to play?
Yeah, the first song is the one that we just talked about, Will Kellum's song, Fourth Quarter. Check it out.
Yeah. Great pick. And you guys, this is some heavy lifting, especially on this first verse. So make sure you got your ears on. Make sure you are listening very closely. This is the Be Positive Music Show. You're hanging out with Luke DiMarzio and myself, and we will be right back.
Hey yo, what's happening, positive people? This is your boy Limo Blazy, aka God's favorite baby, aka Limo Blazy. Yo, and you are now tuned in to Be Positive Music Show with B Plus, right here on Holy Culture Radio.
Welcome back, Holy Culture fam. It's B Plus hanging out with Luke DiMarzio. We're walking through the first quarter of Christian hip hop. He just hit us with his 5 favorite EP/albums of the month of February, and he just played 3 songs. So let's talk about the 3 songs that he chose. The first one was Fourth Quarter.
It's fourth quarter. Yeah. Look, and this what fourth quarter sound like with no options. I walk by faith like the scripture turned into my optics. I seen a couple prophets trying to make profit off of some trick topics. Like a QB on the run, they trying to make gains out of the pocket.
That was by Will Kellum. The next song you heard was All I Have Is Faith.
Glocks with attachments for the devil's advancement. I was feeling stagnant, going off on a tangent. Create your own lane, and you'll never see no traffic. Ducking Jezebels, I ain't going out like Samson. If all I had was faith, would you still love me? When
That was by West Side Mo. And then the third and final song was Diamond Freestyle.
And I promise to go hard to the day I'm in a shirt. I go hammer, I go stupid. They was passing out the nuisance. We was planning out the rubric, you know, saying about to lose it. Kids on a mission who get to the lack. Living in prison who different and black. Giving a vision who those who don't listen, who dissing and riffing and holding them straps. And them straps, and them straps, and them straps.
That was by Jay Sannon. So those were the 3 that you just heard. And now it's time to turn our attention to the month of March. It was very busy. So Luke, let us know what were some of your favorite albums/EPs of the month.
Yeah, March was crazy, and so I tried to cheat and I put a 6th one in there. So I'm gonna have an honorable mention for this one too.
Nice.
The first one, the first one that comes to mind when I think of March of 2024 is of course Jered Sanders, Talk to Me Nice. Man. I don't know what else to say. Like this, there's so many bars. I feel like Jered just had so much fun with this album. And and he's got 3 more projects he's going to drop this year. This is just the beginning, man. It's going to be insane. I think 2024 is the year of Jered Sanders. I'm going to say that right now.
I think so too. I told him the same thing. I was just like, I really do feel like at the end of the year, I feel like it's going to be him. And then also, I don't think Swoope is done.
Oh, okay.
In the month, he's having a live set. Celebrating his Grammy, just going back to Ohio. So it's gonna be really fun. I'm trying to make the trek up there to Ohio to check that one out. So I think the vets are really shining down this year. So after Jered Sanders, what other albums do you have for this month?
All right, Alert 312. You know, they used to be on Humble Beast. They work with the Streetlights Project. I don't know if you know about that. They dropped The Lord Is Beauty, and it is so solid, man. And it's like just quintessential, like East Coast kind of sound. They got a unique like voices, like you said earlier. You like voices. I just think they sound really dope, and that's a great project. We got Selah the Corner, Mr. Rocket Everything, and Perry Illest, the SOTO EP, Sliding on the Ops, and any EP that starts out with a bar that says Revelation made me hate spoilers. I was like, what?
That was great.
The book of Revelation made me hate spoilers. I was like, okay, let's go. Okay.
Yep.
Anyway, moving on. YP, aka Young Paul, Dax Hammer, and the Commissioner. They dropped Guillotines on the East 3. And if you like that gritty boom bap East Coast stuff, like they're like the Wu-Tang of CHH, and so
it was like
you know what it
gritty,
is.
though. There were a couple ones on there that were really smooth.
Yeah, they still go in with like the snippets of like, you know, like old school kind of stuff in front of it. It sounds a lot like Wu-Tang to me. Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Yep.
And then another vet who has leveled up, I feel like in the last year, Tadashi, he dropped Dead or Alive Part 2, and just some crazy stuff on that whole thing. He's Yeah, I feel like what he did last year and this year now is my favorite stuff from him. And so,
Yeah,
yeah, you got to go listen to that. It's amazing. And then
he's
my
aging.
honorable mention,
Oh, go
what?
ahead. I was just gonna say that Tadashi is aging very, very well. Like I think my favorite
Hmm.
on there is Pop Up. Yeah, I thought that one was dope. And he has one with a gang of people on there, whole bunch of people on
Yeah,
there. That's a dope track as well. So yeah. So tell me about your honorable mention.
honorable mention is EI the King, Forever Convict. EI is a guy that I met a few years ago too. I met him at Flavor Fest as well, and he's just stayed in contact. I've interviewed him a few times, and dude, it just has a heart of gold. He's so genuine, and he really has a heart for reaching people who are imprisoned, like currently in prison, getting ready to be released, or serving life. He doesn't care. He just wants to tell them about Jesus. And so he actually paired up with Project Pat for one of the songs on here. Project Pat actually is saved, and he's doing prison ministry as well. I love what EI is doing, and so I couldn't talk about March without talking about EI.
Man, I appreciate you bringing him up just because he's always somebody that I don't think about him, but then when I hear him, like, oh man, I should probably dig more into his music. So maybe I'll actually take up that opportunity now and do that. It's really cool seeing Project Pat. He just kind of pops up here and there. I know he did a song with my homie Lank. He did another song with somebody else recently too in the CHH space. So it's always cool to see Project Pat, see him pop up. Man, was something else I was going to mention. Yeah, about Alert of 312. They almost give you, like, I know we don't have Beautiful Eulogy dropping music, but they almost kind of are the closest thing to that.
Yeah.
It's you can't duplicate Beautiful Eulogy at all
No.
with the trio that they were, but this kind of gives you like that type of feel. And another thing about it was YP and that crew, like, you're right, they're super consistent. And Gritty is like, I have to be in the mood to listen to Gritty. And it's typically around this time of year when it's kind of cool outside. It's a little wet, it's a little damp. So that's definitely one that I had in rotation. So yeah, you got anything else on this month? Or matter of fact, were you on the Pin Game episode with Jered Sanders?
Yep, sure was.
I thought so. Do you have any main takeaways from that Pin Game, just so people can know that they need to go check that out too?
Yeah, if you guys have never watched a pin game before, we talk about their pin. They teach us about what they're dropping, and then we play some games with them. And so my job whenever I'm on there, because I'm the guy with the ear to the streets, I go and I listen to like all of the artist catalog from before anybody knew them. And so I found some stuff from Jered from like over 10 years ago. And the main takeaway for me is that the dude is super consistent. He's always sound the same. He's always constructed his albums in similar ways. His rhyming, his flows, his style, his beat selection, everything has stayed super consistent for this long. And I feel like now he's bearing the fruit of all that hard work of staying consistent in his craft. And so that's my main takeaway.
That's great. That's great to hear. And I'm super excited about this year, the year 2024, the year of Jered Sanders. I can't get enough of the album. I can't get enough of the album. I did have the opportunity to sit down with him and interview him. And probably my top 3 songs have changed since I told him what my favorite 3 were. My favorite bars have changed and reshuffled since last time I talked. It's just a really, really solid record. My favorite song currently is Decent, Falling Off, the last one. Yeah. So, and I've been hearing that's an indication of what we're going to get for the rest of the year. So if that's the case, I'm super excited about this year. So let's go ahead and hop into some music. Luke, what you got for us?
Yeah, the first song you're going to hear is from Jered Sanders, 300ZX.
All right. You guys sit back and enjoy this dope song by Jered Sanders. This is the Be Positive Music Show, and we will be right back.
Get the Holy Culture app where you can watch the latest videos.
God has given us an exciting platform and a voice to speak to our generation.
Go in depth with artists, check out our podcast, and more.
All right, it's your host here, B Plus, hanging out with Luke DiMarzio, and we are reaching the end of today's show. But before we get out of here, let's talk about the last 3 songs that Luke DiMarzio picked for the month of March. The first song was 300ZX.
I used to pray to have monopoly money, but not of riches and glory, and I ain't tripping off a little bug. He said the treasure of the wicked got a spot for me, even if it's not, I'm never tripping over broccoli. Knew me in the womb, I was living like a mockery, but when I heard the news, it fulfilled another prophecy.
That was by Jered Sanders. The next song was Stars Align.
Watch out for snakes that got in the church. Act like your friend when they in it first, but make it about them with they selfish words. Like pastors and pulpits that selling merch. Serpents that hurt because they been hurt. They hide in your life, better do a search. Accusing the brethren like Satan does, but my God on time, he gon' end the cart.
And that was by Tadashi off of his EP entitled Dead or Alive Part 2. And I want to make sure I get everybody mentioned on this cipher. It was featuring Joey Vantes, Alano Adan, Childlike Cece, and Eli Montana. So that was that song. And then the third and final song I played was by E.I. the King.
I done made my peace with God, he made me his assassin. I ain't really with that talking, but I'm all by action. Back in the business, I'm all about mission. I'm all in the block, we be calling that fishing. If I get the trip, my father forgiven. Faith is a lifestyle, not a decision. This one's for my.
Featuring Project Pat. The name of the song was FOF. All right, so we are rounding out the hour here, but before we get out of here, Luke DiMarzio, you've been doing something really cool on IG. I'm not sure. Well, I just got on IG myself, maybe 6 or 7 months ago. So I don't know what you used to do on there, but all I know is you've been doing these. I don't even know how to explain them, but so take a moment and explain these dope videos that you've been doing on IG.
So my motive is always to tell people about dope hip hop, and like the most fun thing for me is for someone to be like, even if I'm in person, hey Luke, here's the aux cord, play what you want. That's my favorite thing ever. And so whenever I used to write articles, I wrote for New H2O for a couple years, and I've been with Rapzilla since like 2018, 2019. And I just constantly am writing articles like, hey, here's some rappers you never heard about. And I do it every month. And then at the end of last year, I was like, you know what? I'm tired of writing articles. I don't know how many people are clicking this. I don't know if people want to go read anymore. And so how can I meet people where they're at? And so I had a couple of friends that gave me this idea to try something like this. And I don't know if it's working. I feel like it's way more fun. But again, it's just a different way to get some artists you might never have heard of in front of you. And so then you can share it, or you can go follow those artists, or you can go download all their music. Like, that's the motive. And so that's what I want to keep doing. And it's been really fun so far. If you know any editors out there, though, that like to edit videos, I'm looking for some.
I got you. I don't know any editors, but I do know like some little tips that I use to kind of help things go smoother, because it can be tough editing. But I like just how it looks. Just like aesthetically, it's like it looks like it looks like you're taking the image on like maybe Spotify and you're laying it over a phone. So it's like, this is what it looks like to you. I think it looks really dope. But at the same time, it's one of those things where I would love to do some type of reaction type of video, but I just don't think I have like the personality to pull that off. But you have like this cool way of doing it where you just sitting there, just kind of vibing out to the music, like the subtle reactions to different parts and things like that. So I think you do a great job at that. And again, all your favorite DJs have people like Luke that they go to find new music. And Luke, you are that to me. I always am going through and looking through like what you're tweeting about to see about new artists that are coming out or new songs that are out. You're just one of those behind the scene guys that always does really, really good work. And I kind of thought the same thing. I would go look at your articles and I'm just like, man, this is really good. There's good stuff in here. And it would have like a YouTube clips where you can go listen to it right away. But I'm like, I don't think people read that much anymore. So I'm happy to see that you found a way to do it in a way where it's like last time I saw they were getting a lot of engagement on IG. So anything I can do to help. If I have like some little tips to when it comes to making videos that I use to help things go by smoother, I'll be sure to share those with you offline.
All right, cool.
Well, great. Well, it is Easter weekend. Tomorrow is a very, very big day. Luke, I know that you lead worship at your church. I actually got opportunity. They asked me to DJ in the lobby. We're having church at the Irving Convention Center tomorrow.
Cool.
We're doing one big service, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that. So I know you got some stuff to wrap up here on this Saturday night, as I do. So for all my Holy Culture listeners, for all my SiriusXM listeners, I thank you so much for tuning in to today's show. And until next time, peace in, confusion out, and be positive.